Have you ever held a coin in your hand and felt as though it carried an entire era within its tiny frame? Today, I want to share the remarkable story of the 1989 US nickel, a coin that at first glance might seem like just another piece of everyday currency, yet it holds layers of history, intriguing minting quirks, and a value that continues to grow among discerning collectors. It's a piece that connects us to a pivotal moment in US minting history, and whether you already own one or have been considering adding it to your collection, there's plenty to uncover. Back in 1989, the US Mint was in a state of transition. As technology began to reshape traditional processes, the Mint was experimenting with new techniques to improve efficiency without sacrificing the artistry that had defined American coinage for centuries. The 1989 nickel emerged during this period, embodying a blend of classic design and modern production methods. Although it features the familiar profile of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and the iconic image of Monticello on the reverse, subtle variations in the die work, and even a few minting quirks have made this coin a subject of fascination for seasoned collectors. Now, let's take a moment to look closely at the coin. Pause for close-up footage. Notice the finely rendered details of Jefferson's profile. Each line and contour tells a story of careful craftsmanship. Alongside this, the mint mark and date are etched with precision, yet in some specimens, there's an almost imperceptible doubling in the lettering, a result of a fleeting misalignment during the die creation process. This so-called double die error isn't present on every 1989 nickel, but when it does appear, it transforms a standard issue into a highly prized rarity. The reverse of the coin, featuring Monticello, is no less captivating. While the design echoes the timeless architecture of Jefferson's beloved estate, collectors have noted that the 1989 version carries a slightly different feel compared to its contemporaries. There's a subtle shift in the engraving's depth and a unique crispness to the details that hint at the mint's experimental phase. Over the years, these nuanced differences have become a focal point of discussion at auctions and among numismatic circles, with some arguing that this variation marks the coin as a transitional piece, a bridge between the traditional methods of yesteryear and the modern techniques that would soon come to dominate. When we talk about rarity, it's important to consider not only the mint error, but also the condition of the coin. In the world of coin collecting, the grade can be everything. A 1989 nickel in average circulated condition might only attract moderate interest, but when you find one that's been preserved in mint state, especially those graded MS-65 or higher, the value can increase dramatically. In recent years, error variants and high-grade specimens have been known to fetch prices that surprise even the most seasoned collectors. I recall a notable auction where a near-perfect error variant of the 1989 nickel went for over $15,000, a figure that underscores how even minor imperfections or their absence can influence market value. Let's take another close look at the coin's finer details. Pause for close-up footage. Observe the clarity of the mint mark, the sharpness of the lines in Jefferson's portrait, and the almost tactile texture of Monticello. These aren't merely decorative elements, they're the fingerprints of a particular moment in minting history, a snapshot of the experimental phase that defined 1989. Such details are precisely what set apart a prized specimen from a common one. Beyond the technicalities of minting and condition, the 1989 nickel is steeped in stories and legends. Among collectors, there's a persistent myth that the coin was part of a secret test run for new minting equipment, a notion that, while never officially confirmed, adds an irresistible layer of mystery. I've heard tales of collectors stumbling upon these error variants almost by accident, finding them tucked away in old coin jars or among forgotten stacks of change at estate sales. One story even recounts how a prominent collector, while sorting through his collection, discovered a 1989 nickel with the distinctive doubling error and attributed a series of fortunate business ventures to its lucky presence. Whether these stories are embellished over time or grounded in truth, they highlight the passionate community that surrounds coin collecting, where every coin is more than metal, it's a piece of personal and national history. Speaking of history, the broader context of the 1989 nickel's creation is fascinating in itself. The late 1980s marked a time when the U.S. was rapidly modernizing many of its systems, and the mint was no exception. While traditional methods had served well for decades, the push for efficiency and consistency led to experimental techniques that at times produced unexpected results. The 1989 nickel is a tangible reminder of that era of change, a coin that bridges the gap between the old and the new. Its design, while rooted in a long tradition of American coinage, hints at the technological evolution that would soon become the norm. For many collectors, owning this coin is like holding a piece of that transformative period in your hand. Of course, with great interest comes great responsibility. For those who already have this coin in their collection or are thinking about acquiring one, the importance of authentication cannot be overstated. It's essential to compare your coin with verified examples from trusted sources. Look closely at the mint mark, the date, and the overall quality of the engraving. Even subtle variations can indicate whether a coin is an authentic specimen or a counterfeited piece trying to cash in on the hype. I always recommend seeking out a reputable grading service if you're unsure. Having that expert validation not only boosts the coin's credibility, but can also enhance its market value. Storage is another crucial aspect of collecting. Coins like the 1989 nickel should be kept in acid-free holders, away from direct sunlight, and in an environment with controlled humidity. Over time, even the smallest exposure to harsh chemicals or fluctuating temperatures can erode the fine details that make these coins so special. In a way, caring for your coin is like preserving a cherished piece of art. It deserves respect, attention, and the right conditions to maintain its beauty and value. Now, it's interesting to compare the 1989 nickel to its peers from nearby years. Many collectors might initially confuse it with the 1990 nickel, given the similarities in design and composition. However, upon closer inspection, the 1989 version exhibits unique die characteristics, a slightly different engraving style, and the potential for that elusive doubling error that collectors love to talk about. These subtle differences may seem minor, but they make a world of difference when it comes to authenticity and value. In many ways, the 1989 nickel stands as a benchmark, a coin that encapsulates a moment of transition and innovation, setting it apart from coins minted in subsequent years. Market trends for the 1989 nickel have been nothing short of intriguing. Data over the past decade suggests that even coins without the error variant have appreciated in value, especially as high-grade examples become scarcer. Auction houses regularly report that well-preserved 1989 nickels attract significant attention, with prices steadily climbing as collectors vie for that perfect specimen. For investors and collectors alike, this trend signals that the coin isn't just a nostalgic relic, it's a dynamic asset that continues to offer promising returns. If you're on the fence about adding one to your collection, now might be an opportune time to dive in, as the market for quality 1989 nickels remains robust and competitive. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the world of the 1989 U.S. nickel. If you've enjoyed this journey and have your own stories or insights about this fascinating coin, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep the passion for collecting alive.